Right. So today we are going deep.
Oh.
Really deep.
Uh-oh. Deep, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Pyramid schemes.
Oh, wow.
You guys have sent in some incredible research articles,
Yeah.
notes. I mean, fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to unpack all of it, how these things work,
Right.
psychology behind them, and why this matters to you listening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, believe it or not, some of the most infamous schemes,
Yeah.
they started off looking totally legit.
They really do. It's true. Pyramid schemes are like chameleons. They blend in and often exploit our own desires for quick success.
Okay, so let's get right into it.
Yep.
I mean, we all know the basic definition, right? It's about recruitment, not actual product sales.
Right.
But I'm curious, when you were going through all this research, what really surprised you?
You know, what stood out to me was how these schemes really masterfully tap into our inherent biases, particularly something called the bandwagon effect.
Okay.
You know, we're naturally drawn to things that seem popular or successful,
Right.
and pyramid schemes exploit this. They showcase these flashy testimonials, emphasize how many people are already winning.
So they're preying on our FOMO, our fear of missing out.
Exactly. They create this sense of urgency and exclusivity, make you feel like you're part of this select group with access to a secret path to wealth.
Okay, so they're playing mind games right from the start. But how does this whole thing actually work?
Think of it like, well, a pyramid.
Okay.
Let's break it down using a historical example. Holiday magic, a scheme from the 1960s. Step one is initial recruitment, just like you mentioned. People were lured in with the promise of selling household cleaning products and cosmetics.
Right. Sounds pretty normal.
Sounds harmless enough, right?
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting. The real money wasn't in selling the products themselves.
Okay.
Instead, recruits were pushed to buy large quantities of distributorships, basically the right to recruit more people. So step two, building the pyramid, was all about getting others to buy these distributorships.
Gotcha.
Not moving actual product.
So the focus shifts from selling products to selling the opportunity itself.
Precisely. And this is where the money starts flowing upwards. Step three.
Okay.
The people at the top, the founders of Holiday Magic, were making a fortune off of these distributor sales.
Right.
While those at the bottom, well, they were left holding these overpriced inventory they couldn't sell.
Okay, so no real product, just the illusion of one.
Right.
That brings us to step four.
Yeah.
And eventually, the whole thing collapses because you can't keep recruiting forever.
Exactly. And when Holiday Magic inevitably crashed, it left thousands of people in financial ruin. The real tragedy is that many of these individuals truly believed.
Yeah.
They were building a legitimate business. They were caught up in the hype, the promise of wealth, and the persuasive tactics, honestly, used by the scheme's organizers.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder that these schemes, they prey on our vulnerabilities.
They do.
And our aspirations.
Absolutely. And understanding those psychological tactics at play, I think, is just as important as knowing the steps of the scheme itself. It helps us build that critical lens to really spot these things in the wild.
So how do we protect ourselves? I mean, it's one thing to know the steps of a pyramid scheme, but how do we recognize those red flags when we're faced with a tempting opportunity?
You're absolutely right. Recognizing those red flags is crucial, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into next.
All right, let's do it. So we talked about the psychology these schemes use, how they hook people in.
Right.
But let's get practical.
Yeah.
What are the red flags, the things people need to watch out for so they don't fall into these traps?
Well, that's the key to protecting yourself, and thankfully, there are some pretty clear indicators.
Okay.
The first and maybe most glaring is that heavy focus on recruitment over sales.
Right. I mean, everyone loves a good referral program.
Right.
But this is different.
Absolutely. Legitimate businesses, even those with multi-level marketing structures, they prioritize selling products or services. Their primary revenue comes from customers, not from constantly expanding their network of distributors.
Right.
In a pyramid scheme, though, the product is often secondary.
Okay.
Just a smokescreen for the recruitment drive.
So if you're at a presentation and it feels like they're spending more time hyping up the recruitment bonuses than talking about the actual product.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
Definitely. Another big one is high entry fees.
Okay.
If you're being asked to shell out a significant chunk of change just to join, especially when they promise you'll earn it back quickly by recruiting others, be wary.
Okay, so high upfront costs with the promise of quick returns through recruitment. That's a no-go.
Yeah. And this ties into the third red flag. Vague or non-existent products or services.
Okay.
If they can't clearly explain what they're selling, or if the product seems flimsy, overpriced, or just an afterthought, that's a huge warning sign.
I remember reading in one of the articles you sent that some schemes literally use generic products you could find at any discount store.
Oh, yeah.
Just slap a fancy label on them
So
and call it their exclusive line.
it happens more often than you'd think.
Yeah.
The product is just a prop to make the scheme appear legitimate.
Okay.
The real focus is always on the recruitment side.
All right. So far, we've got emphasis on recruitment, high entry fees, and questionable products.
Yep.
What else should we be on the lookout for?
This one might seem obvious, but it's important. Promises of unrealistic returns with minimal effort. If it sounds too good to be true,
Yeah.
it probably is.
Right.
Legitimate businesses take time and effort to build.
Right. No get-rich-quick schemes. What's the next red flag?
Pressure tactics.
Okay.
Pyramid schemes often rely on creating a sense of urgency and scarcity.
Right.
They might use limited time offers,
Yeah.
pressure you to sign up immediately, or tell you that only a select few spots are available. They're playing on your fear of missing out.
So that act now or lose out mentality.
Exactly.
But wait, isn't that something some legitimate businesses do too? Like limited time sales or early bird discounts?
That's a great point, and it highlights the importance of critical thinking.
Okay.
Legitimate businesses might use similar tactics, but the key difference lies in the overall context.
Right.
Look at the big picture. What's the primary focus?
Okay.
Is it on selling a genuine product or service, or is it all about recruitment?
Right.
That's the key question.
That's a really helpful distinction. Okay, so pressure tactics need to be evaluated carefully. What's the last red flag on our list?
This one's a bit more technical,
Okay.
but it's crucial. Overly complex and confusing compensation structures.
Right.
Pyramid schemes often have convoluted payout plans that are difficult to understand.
Right.
They make it hard to figure out how you'll actually earn money, and the emphasis is always on recruiting, not sales.
So if you're looking at their compensation plan and feeling like you need a degree in advanced mathematics just to decipher it,
Yeah.
that's a bad sign.
Exactly.
Right.
A legitimate business should have a clear and transparent compensation plan.
Right.
That's easy to understand. If you're
Yeah.
struggling to figure out how the money flows, that's a red flag you shouldn't ignore.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've learned about the psychology of pyramid schemes, how they operate, and most importantly, those 6 key red flags to watch out for.
Right.
But what if someone listening has already gotten involved in one of these schemes?
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
That's a really important question, and it's crucial to remember that anyone can fall victim to these schemes.
Right.
They're designed to be deceptive and manipulative. So if you find yourself caught in this situation, first and foremost, don't blame yourself.
It can be easy to feel ashamed or embarrassed.
Right.
But it's important to remember these schemes are specifically designed to trap people.
Exactly. The first step is acknowledging the situation and then taking action.
Okay.
The sooner you get out, the better.
So let's talk about those steps. What should someone actually do if they realize they're involved in a pyramid scheme?
Well, the most important thing is to stop participating immediately. Cut all ties. Stop recruiting and stop paying any fees. The longer you stay involved, the more you risk losing.
That makes sense. Get out as soon as you can. What's the next step?
Document everything. Gather any evidence you have, contracts, receipts, communication with recruiters. This will be helpful if you decide to report the scheme or seek legal advice.
So it's like gathering receipts after a bad shopping spree. Might be painful to look at, but essential for getting your money back.
Exactly. And speaking of reporting, that's the next crucial step.
Go.
Contact the appropriate authorities, like the Federal Trade Commission in the U.S. or your local consumer protection agency.
Right. Reporting not only helps you, but also protects others from falling into the same trap.
Exactly. The more reports these agencies receive, the better equipped they are to investigate and potentially shut down these operations.
It's like shining a light on the cockroaches. They scatter when exposed. Okay, reporting is done. What then?
If you've lost money or feel you've been significantly harmed, seeking legal advice is a smart move. A lawyer can help you understand your options and whether you have grounds to pursue legal action.
Yeah, I imagine navigating the legal complexities of something like this can be really overwhelming.
Absolutely. That's why having that professional guidance can be so valuable.
Right.
They can help you navigate that process and protect your rights.
Okay, so we've got stop participating, document everything, report the scheme, and consider legal advice. What's the final step in this process?
This one's crucial, warn others.
Okay.
Share your experience with friends, family, your social network. The more people who understand how these schemes work and can recognize the red flags, the less likely they are to become victims.
It's like that old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We need to learn from each other's experiences.
Precisely. By speaking out, you're not only protecting others, but also contributing to, a more informed and empowered community.
Right. And you never know who you might be helping. Someone might be on the verge of joining a scheme, and your story could be the thing that makes them pause and reconsider.
It's true. Breaking the silence around these schemes is one of the most powerful ways to combat them.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of pyramid schemes, I'm struck by how important it is to be informed, to be critical thinkers, and to trust our gut instincts.
Absolutely. And to remember that knowledge is our best defense. By understanding how these schemes operate and recognizing the red flags, we can protect ourselves and those we care about.
I want to thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. It's been eye-opening, to say the least.
It's been my pleasure. I hope this information empowers our listeners to make informed decisions and stay safe from these predatory schemes.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Remember, stay curious, stay informed, and, as always, happy learning.